98FM. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Weekdays from 10 a.m. on 98FM.
A lady called Michelle has taken to social media disgusted by the way she was treated in a restaurant on the north side of Dublin. She and her partner and her baby went to the restaurant yesterday to order food. They were the only customers in the restaurant, apart from one woman who had finished her food. And tell me, Michelle, what happened? What went wrong?
Hey, Adrian. So we went in and we were sitting there, and I noticed that the baby, like, he was after wetting his nappy. So I kind of looked to my partner and I said, like, very quietly, I said, we're going to have to go. And the woman that was sitting beside us, she obviously heard what I was after saying. And she said, why are you going? Like, you're only after getting your food. We hadn't even had any of our food at the time. And she said, just change in there. There's nobody else there. I don't want. So I was kind of real, like, I didn't know what to do. So I just did. And I had taken the nappy half off him. I had the new nappy underneath. It was cleaned. I would never, ever put my child on show for anybody to see. Like, he wasn't being shown to the world, anything like that. And the owner of the shop, when I was just about to, swap the nappies, she came over and she was giving out. She's like, how dare you? And at this point, other customers were after coming in. Now, there was a woman with 3 kids and 2 men, but they hadn't even ordered their food yet, anything like that. And she was like, this is where food is. But the point, like, I was after asking, was there somewhere to change the baby? And I was told no. And then at this point, she was like, you could have brought him in and changed him on the floor. No, I wouldn't do it in my own house.
What, on the floor of the toilet?
Of the toilet, like.
Really? How old's your baby?
He's 1 on Sunday. So, like, and I know people were saying, why didn't I change him on my lap? But, like, as you can imagine, he's a little boy. I'm not big. Do you know that way, Adrian? I wouldn't be able to. And then she said, so then after it was all said and done, I went home. I was disgusted. But we were eating our food and my partner said, I don't want this food. Can we just go? And I was like, no, we're going to have to pay for it either way. So we may as well eat it. And he was like, okay, right. So started eating it. And then he stopped eating it. And I said, would you just eat it? Like, do you know what I mean? Just get over it. It's done, it's over. Like, we were very embarrassed. And he said, I can't eat it. There's a food in it. Oh, there's a hair in it. So I was just like, right, we'll just go. But the woman that was sitting beside us, like, while we were sitting there kind of eating a little bit too, she was like, don't be embarrassed. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. And the woman that came in after us was asking, were we okay? Because of the way she was after speaking to us. And the woman that did tell me to change in there, she said, you should talk to her about how she's after talking to you. She should have been more discreet about that. She should have been embarrassing you. And when we were going, she was nowhere to be seen. Because I was going to say to her...
So you go into a restaurant, you go into this particular restaurant, and by the way, we've been in contact with this restaurant, and they have no comment. That's the answer we got, no comment. Anyhow, you go in there, you ask, have they got any changing facilities for your baby? They say no, but you proceeded to change the baby's nappy anyhow, which you had to do.
Yeah, Adrian, I couldn't leave him, that way. Would you have kids, like, would you sit there and
leave them in a shitty nappy? No.
No, he wasn't pooey. No, I would never, ever do that.
But even leave them in a sticky, wet nappy? No.
No. Like, you can imagine how uncomfortable that'd be for a child. You know what I mean? It was wet, like, I would never, ever. And I have people on Facebook. She put up a status about me on Facebook. Now, I did put up a status on Facebook, but because I went onto her business page and there was no way to leave a review. And I just felt that, people should know that this is after happening. And then she put up a status about me saying basically that I was a liar, that I changed the pooey nappy in public, and then I had people saying maybe you should have left your child at home.
Really?
Like, what do people expect me to do, leave him at home with the dog?
You will be aware that the restaurant actually replied on or made a post on Facebook. And I have a screenshot of the comment that the restaurant made. Can I read this to you?
Yeah.
I want to get your comments on this. Michelle, you never asked any of the staff in the restaurant about changing your baby. As I walked by your table, you had the baby lying on the seat, naked from the waist down. Now, firstly, let's deal with that. Did you ask anybody? They say you didn't.
Asked before. We were there, but this was only the second time we were actually ever in the place. And I asked before, and I was told they're out of order. So I just thought, like, maybe they were dirty at the time, you know, that way, or something like that. But when we came back, there was none. So, because I was after saying, like, is there any? And I was told no, you know. So I don't, like, she's given out saying as if, like, if I had have said.
But okay, the day that this happened, did you ask specifically, have you got baby changing facilities?
No, because I knew that there wasn't. I know, like. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, this is what the reply said. You had just opened the nappy that was on him and he was still lying on it. I couldn't believe what I saw. Excuse me. I went back to you and told you that you could not change your baby on the seat. And you said that there was nowhere else to change him. I said to you, bring him into the toilet with his changing mat, and I had just mopped the toilet and it was spotless. Is that true?
No, that she did say, bring him into the toilet, but we were there when she came into the shop. She was after being out getting a delivery or some sort, and she was bringing them in. So we were there. She didn't just mop the floor. And mopped or not, Adrian, I wouldn't have put my child on the bathroom floor.
Okay, she says then she also suggested bring the buggy into the toilet and lay it back and change him on that.
No, she didn't say that, because if she had said that, like, if I had a toilet at the time, I would have done that. You know, that way, she did definitely not say that.
Okay, she says, you just looked at your partner and said nothing to me. The customer next to you said that you had asked her and she said yes because she didn't know what else to say. There were 5 other customers in the sit down at the time, 2 at one table and 3 at another. One of the customers called me over and said that she was horrified by what you were doing. She couldn't believe her eyes and that all she could smell was nappy. So, Michelle, says this lady from the restaurant, a seat in a public restaurant is no place to change a baby. Now, what do you say to all that?
Well, I don't like to call people a liar, but she's a liar. You know, Adrian, the woman didn't actually say that, because I didn't ask the woman, could I change the baby there? I would never. I was going to leave. Our food was just after arriving, and I said to him, we have to go, you know. And she said to me, change him there. I'd never, ever in a million years ask somebody, could I change my child in front of them? Like, not that she would have seen, you know, that way. And I did look at my partner when she said that to me, but I didn't know what else to do. You know, she kind of, the way she approached me about it, she was being, like, very aggressive. So I was panicking. And that's when the woman did say, I told her to do it there. I didn't see a problem. I was the only one at the time. You know, that way. And I don't.
But this woman did go and subsequently complain? No,
she didn't. I was there when she left. She definitely didn't.
She definitely didn't?
So the way she was, because there was a woman sitting behind me and she had 3 other kids, and she asked me, was I okay? So I doubt she even complained. But I don't know how she would have smelled a nappy, because it was literally the tiniest little pee ever. But it's not the point, you know, like, I couldn't leave him in a wet nappy. So it wouldn't have smelled. It wasn't like it was poo. I'd never do that. You know what I mean?
It was just a wet nappy. And, okay, so she's saying that you never asked. You're saying that, well, you knew from the last time you were there that there wasn't, so you just proceeded to change the baby's nappy. So that's more accurate, is it?
Yeah.
So she was horrified to see you just proceeding to change the baby's nappy on a seat in the restaurant. Now, what's your opinion on the fact that they don't have baby changing facilities?
It's a joke. Like, genuinely, it doesn't cost much. And when I went in, I asked had they got a baby, like, you know, a seat to put them in. And I was just told no, like, very bluntly. It's a joke that they're not, like, if you're a restaurant, you should have that type of facilities. You know what I mean? It's like having a toilet for a disabled person. There is going to be a certain amount of disabled people that come in, a certain amount of people with babies that are going to come in. What do you expect them to do?
All right, but stay there for a second. Natalie, what did you want to say on this, Natalie?
Well, like, I 100% agree that the facilities for, like, a baby's changing area is disgusting. It's absolutely foul. It's disgusting. I've had 2 children, and both my kids, they're age 8 and 4 now. I have never, ever brought them into a public toilet to change them. I have once with my first, and I said after that I would never do it again, because the amount of germs even pulling down the tray to lie your baby on is absolutely foul.
No, at least you've been in places where they have a tray to lie your baby on. In this particular case, there was nothing.
I know, and I totally gobsmacked that they don't have one changing mat or changing tray in a public toilet for anyone who wants to use it. In my opinion, I would never use it. It's disgusting. Full of germs. A newborn baby in a public toilet does not go together. I would always change my baby on my lap. I've even changed my baby in a pram on a train. I don't care who's looking at me. If my baby needs to change, it needs to change. It's simple as they're only little babies. They can't do it themselves.
Okay, but you're saying that even when there are, fold-down tables to put your baby on, you wouldn't put a baby on one of them. So
definitely not, no.
Well, what else can you have?
I have my lap. Use my lap. The baby's on my lap. I change the nappy really, really fast there and then. No one sees as they did.
In the restaurant or in the toilet?
Wherever I am. Wherever I am.
So can you see anything wrong in what Michelle did in changing her baby in the restaurant?
No, definitely not. It's a baby. A baby needs to be changed. If there's no facilities, then if people complain, well, that's their problem. They complain to the management for not having facilities, but you cannot frown upon a mother changing a baby's nappy. It's just not. It's inhumane to do something like that. You're not going to... If she left the baby in a wet nappy and someone knew about it, social services or someone would complain about that and say she's unfit mother.
Not for a wet nappy, maybe for a pooey nappy.
No, but I mean, you can have a bit of nappy rash and stuff like that. It's uncomfortable for a baby to be left in a wet
nothing
nappy.
wrong with what this lady did, and indeed the restaurant should have had baby changing facilities.
Yeah, and 100% for me, if the restaurant did have a changing facility, I still wouldn't use it. I just don't like the fact that a little baby is going into a public toilet where other people has been there putting their germs on.
Sure, that's where we all have to go, Natalie.
I know, but nowadays they're getting the sanitizers to wipe the toilet seat before people sit on it. It's changing. It's not the way it was years ago. It's just there's so many more people now in Dublin that when the baby is getting changed, like there's so many germs on that. Like not many people would clean up after themselves, or if there was a pooey nappy and the poo is up the baby's back and it goes onto the mat. It's not being 100% thoroughly disinfected.
But okay, you're saying to me, Natalie, that if you were in a restaurant with a baby and the baby needed to be changed, you would do exactly what Michelle did and do it there and then?
Yeah, I would do it there and then.
Even if that nappy was a pooey nappy?
Even if that nappy was a pooey nappy,
So other people sitting in the restaurant, while you're changing a baby, have to put up with the smell of a pooey nappy?
Yeah, I would turn my back. I would make it discreetly as possible, but and if they had something to say, I would ask them to go in and look at the toilets. It's just that's just me. That's my personal opinion. I've never liked the baby in a public toilet to change them. It's just disgusting. I do it on my lap all the time. And if I had a baby again today, I'd still do the same thing. I would never change it for anyone. Just because they just don't have any kids, or they're done with their kids, or they don't like kids, or whatever their opinion is. No.
Okay, stay there for a second.
What I can do for my child.
Okay, stay there for a second. How would you feel if you were in a restaurant and a baby was having its nappy changed while you're sitting there? Would it bother you? Would you just say, babies have to be changed? Or would you complain? That's what we're trying to find out. Michelle was in a place where they didn't have baby changing facilities. They told her to go and lie the child on the floor in the toilet, and she wouldn't do that. She changed the baby on a chair. Natalie is saying she would do the exact same thing, even if it was a pooey nappy. She wouldn't bring a child into a toilet, even if it had baby changing facilities. She would just change the baby's nappy there and then. How would you feel about that? Would that annoy you? Nico, you're on 98FM. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know what's going on there.
What did you want to say?
No, I just kind of feel for Michelle that she didn't do anything wrong. Changing the baby in the restaurant is not... But I mean, did she have like a car going to that restaurant? And she didn't have a car, just go to the car and change the baby. Because this is
Did you have a car with you, Michelle?
No, I didn't, Adrian. Like, if I had had any other way of doing it, I would have. I obviously wouldn't have done it there and then, but I don't see... I had no other option.
Yeah. If there was no option, I don't see any problem with doing it, but... There are some things that draw attention, like, people complain about why did the other lady actually pop up the breast and breastfeed the baby. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing it. It's a natural thing, but people, they go on and on. It's a little bit of attention to other people in the restaurant, I guess.
All right, stay there for a second. Let me go to Sinead. You're on 98FM. How are you, Sinead?
Hi, Adrian.
Good, Sinead. What do you want to say?
I just think I don't see the reason why she couldn't bring the child in if she says he's one and change his nappy while he's standing in the toilet.
I don't know how good his standing is at this minute, Michelle. Is he good at standing?
No, stand the baby up and take the dirty nappy off and put a clean one on.
Yeah,
But
no, he doesn't.
you shouldn't
stand.
do it where there's people eating. I mean, for hygiene reasons, you have to wash your hands after changing a baby's nappy also.
But
You know, you can't
there
eat food
wasn't
after
actually
changing a child's
anybody-
nappy.
Well, I did clean my hands, but there wasn't actually anybody eating. That was what the point. That's why I didn't see anything wrong with it. There was only one other person in the restaurant at the time, and she was finished eating. And she was the one that was after saying to me, change them. Like, I wouldn't have, if people were eating, I obviously wouldn't, like...
Yeah, but that's
change
fair
them.
enough. But for
You know
health
that
and
way?
safety reasons in a business where there's food being served, you can't change a child's nappy in a dining area. It's wrong. So if the baby is small enough, change him on your knee in the bathroom, and if not, stand them up and just take the wet nappy off and slide the clean one on. Pull his trousers up and off you go. No hassle.
You see, I have to say, Michelle, a lot of people have been in touch with us. I was asking, would it bother you if a child was being changed while you were in a restaurant or whatever? And a lot of people are saying, yes, it's disgusting. It shows no respect for other customers. I would definitely take my child outside. Have these mothers ever heard of portable changing mats? I'm a dad of a 1-year-old. And I'm a man who worked in a hotel for a few years, and I'd agree with the two girls. I wouldn't use the changing facilities. As from what I've seen, it was more people having a bit of a how's your father on the baby changing mats in public bathrooms. Okay, I don't know whether that goes on in every place. Francis, you're on 98FM. How are you, Francis?
How you doing?
Francis, you're annoyed with what you're hearing from Michelle.
Yeah,
Why?
It's totally unnecessary and it's rude. Just because she's a mother, she thinks she can take away, she has the privilege of being changing her baby and taking everybody else's right away to eat in a hygienic restaurant. No. As that other woman said beforehand, I'm a mother, I've been there, done that. I would have laid the baby down in the buggy in the bathroom and changed it, put the baby on my knee and changed it, or stood the baby up and changed it in the bathroom. Why does she think it's okay to lay a baby down on a seat with a dirty nappy where people are eating? It's not hygienic. There are health and safety reasons, protocols there.
Okay, Michelle, do you get that? That it's not really, from a health and safety point of view, in a restaurant, it's not really ideal to be changing the nappy when there's like people eating dinners.
No, I do get that. And as I said, I don't think people are really getting my point. There was nobody eating.
People are getting your point. It's just that you're not getting other people's point. You think because you're a mother, you have a right to throw all rules and regulations out of a window because you have a child. And there was absolutely it was unnecessary to do it. You had options and you chose to dig your heels in and take the attitude of, well, I don't care what anybody else thinks.
No,
but sorry, Francis. A child needs to be changed. A child needs to be changed.
Absolutely. But if the child is one, as I say, she could have went into the toilets. She could have put the child on her knee. If the child is standing, she could have changed the child easily with it standing. Or if she had a buggy, she could have laid the child in the buggy.
Right. See, that works for kids that are kids that would be just stand there and do that. My child doesn't do that. If you know me, I'm a small person. He is a big child. Did you
have a buggy with you?
Yeah, I did have a buggy. And if you
so you have no excuse. You have no excuse. For me to bring the buggy into the thing, yeah, I would have, but I didn't think of that at the time. I'm sorry. Well, but you did think that it was okay.
I don't think so.
But you think it's okay to infringe on everybody else's rights, and for the
rights, I didn't.
Hang on a second. The restaurant has rules, and possibly they could get into trouble and maybe leave themselves open to fines or whatever. You can't change a child in a restaurant. If I had walked in and seen you change, and I would say, well, this restaurant doesn't really give much dealings to health and safety or.
But can I ask you, Francis?
Well,
can you
understand? They obviously don't give much dealings to health and safety, considering not one of them would.
Well, neither do you, really.
But hang on, Francis. Isn't there an obligation, or shouldn't there be an obligation on a restaurant? Firstly, they have to provide toilets. If they're serving food, they have to provide toilets. Shouldn't there be a similar obligation on them, if they're serving food, to provide clean, safe facilities to change your baby?
Yes, they possibly should, but there are. It would depend on the size of the restaurant as well, and what they're. Sometimes it's not there. If it's an older restaurant, the the space isn't there to provide it. But had she asked, and I don't believe, because the story has changed a couple of times, if she had have asked, they may have provided her with a place to change the child. Like, I think to get onto social media and, you know, bring this to the attention of everybody, I'm just sick of mothers thinking that because they have a child, that everybody else's rights don't matter, that they have a God-given right, when it's totally unnecessary to have done what she did.
All right, but stay there. Let me just bring in another couple of calls. Brian, you're on 98FM. How are you, Brian?
Yeah, her. If she was to change a nappy in front of me, I would have made her pay for me too. That's disgraceful.
That's disgraceful. You'd have complained, would you?
Yeah, I would have complained straight away. If she was to change a nappy in front of me, she'd be paying for me food. I wouldn't be having that at all.
Well, now, I have to say, Michelle, a lot of people are very angry over this.
Of course.
That there's a time and a place for changing a baby's nappy, and a restaurant is not the time or the place.
It's not. Bring her into the toilet or put her in the buggy or something. You're not changing a nappy in a restaurant. There's no way she can get away.
Okay, Brian, thank you. And Shauna?
Hiya.
Yes, Shauna, very quickly, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say that I actually myself, people are going on about health and safety in this restaurant. I myself had an issue when I received a delivery from this restaurant, and the delivery driver stood at my door smoking and while holding my food, and he put a drink on my windowsill, and the cigarette was in his hand, and it knocked off the windowsill and nearly set my whole house up on fire. So it's not really health and safety when delivery drivers are smoking. I'm sure that is definitely illegal to be smoking while handling food. And not only that, even if the child had a poo, you would smell the pooey nappy all over the restaurant, so surely it'd be better to get it changed and disposed of. Whether she changed the child or not, if the child had a poo, I know this child only had a wee, but if this child had a poo, you'd smell it while you were eating your food anyway, surely you'd want it gone.
Well, Michelle?
I honestly, I just wonder, do any of these people have, brains? Saying that I'm putting my rights before everyone else. I'm not putting my rights before anyone else. I'm putting my child before anybody else. There was nobody in the restaurant, so I don't care about the imaginary people that weren't there. Do you know what I mean? The woman that was beside me told me to change my child. She told me repeatedly I was okay, I wasn't in the wrong. I don't care about you know what I mean? She told me when I was leaving, make sure you say that to her because she's after embarrassing you. She shouldn't have spoke to you like that. I would love to know who that woman was so that she could get onto the phone, Joe, Adrian. This is a joke. There was no people there. You know what I mean? I'm not putting my rights before anybody else. I'm not going to leave my child in the wet nappy. I don't care. There was nobody there.
Okay, and you're taking this very seriously. You're planning to consult with a solicitor, are you?
No, you're taking a bit out of context now. I was saying I didn't want to say, I didn't want to get in trouble for slander. This isn't slander. This is the truth.
Well, no, it's only slander if you actually name the place, but we haven't named the place. But do you intend to take this further?
No, that's not what I was said, Adrian. I think you're kind of twisting a bit what I said there. All I said to you was that I wanted to make sure that I wouldn't be in trouble for thing. And I don't actually feel that I was in the wrong for putting it on Facebook either, because any place where you go to eat, where you go to sleep, anywhere whatsoever, in any country, you're entitled to leave a review. When I go onto the business page, there was no option to leave a review.
Oh, well, that would be fairly standard for a lot of businesses. But anyway. All right, Michelle, thanks very much indeed for sharing your story with us. And we'll be interesting to see. As I said, we've been out to the restaurant. They had no comment. That was the best we got out of them. But I know they were very busy when we were talking to them. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on your story. And thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
No problem, mate.
Thank you. All right. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
98FM.
This is 98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Weekdays from 10 a.m. on 98FM.